Now recently, we've been watching this. And it got me thinking, can briefs be better than learning outcomes? Hey everyone, and welcome to the new channel. My name is Alex Gray and this is Deep Professional. And this is actually my first official video for the channel, having created it at the start of this year. And that's because of this little thing called the International Classroom Podcast that's been keeping me pretty busy. Now, actually, I've put the link in for the pod here. And I say that because these upcoming videos are inspired by the conversations I've had with guests. And I want to show you how I've taken the learnings from them into my classroom. Now, in today's video, we're going to explore how design briefs can engage your students in meaningful real-world learning experiences. I'm going to walk you through an example of creating a design brief using AI so you can see just how easy and effective it can be. So, let's get started. First, we need to define what a design brief is. Now, unlike traditional learning outcomes, which often focus on specific skills and knowledge, a design brief presents a problem or challenge for students to solve. It includes a clear problem statement, a target audience, constraints, and success criteria. So design briefs encourage students to think creatively, critically, and collaboratively to develop solutions. Now, you might be wondering how to create a design brief that still aligns with your curriculum standards. Don't worry about it. It's easier than you think. And I'm going to show you how to use AI to generate a design brief that incorporates the key concepts and skills from your subject area. Yeah, there's been a quick t-shirt change, very simply because I managed to spill some of this down my top whilst I was getting things sorted. So hence, quick t-shirt change. Simply because it's a white t-shirt with coffee on it, decaffeinated coffee, by the way. Not great, and it was hot. So, what we've got here in front of us, I'm going to use GPT-4. So I'm going to use ChatGPT, though this can work on Claude, it can work on Gemini, whichever one you're happy with. Now, what I'm going to do is I've taken a screen grab of the learning outcomes for the lesson I'm using. You can type them in. You can type some of them in, you can type all of them in, but I find I'm just going to put all of them in and then work with ChatGPT to help generate the content that I want. Now, that's there. What I've actually found best for this to do is rather than go straight into asking for the problem, straight into asking for the solution, what I'm going to ask it to do is I'm going to ask it to pick out 5 potential real-world problems or real-world scenarios that would connect with these learning outcomes. And it's those then I'm going to use to help generate the actual problem for the design brief. All right, so there's a couple of good things about this. Now, what I'm going to do in this one is I'm purely focusing, I'm going to take one of those and I'm going to write the design brief for this. And I'm going to give that to the students. But based on some of the conversations I have had, most notably the podcast I've got at the moment with Jason Gullier, and the link is up there, he talks a lot about co-creation. So I'm going to mention it here for this first part. I'm not going to do anything, it would be in another video potentially. But what you could do with this is you could give students the actual 5 different ones and let them pick. And that way, when it comes to then the task, when it comes to, as we'll see shortly, the actual rubric, they're co-creating and having a say over what they're doing. For this one, I'm going to go with pharmaceutical delivery systems. I'm going to use that to create the problem and then obviously think about the solution. So there are lots of different components that make up a design brief. So you will have the problem definition, you've got then a solution description, you've got an evaluation criteria, you've got available resources, a design tone, and then potential collaborations. So with this one, all I'm going to be focusing on is just coming up with in step by step. I don't want to give it too much to start with. I want to make sure I'm happy with each part, make sure we're happy with each part, and then go from there. So what we've got in front of us is, so we've got our brief. Task, chemical and physical properties, okay. Goal is to design an innovative drug delivery system that demonstrates an understanding of those factors, overcomes current limitations, a problem will challenge you to create. So we've got that there, and to some extent, it automatically highlights the solution anyway. But it's taken on board our real world scenario and it's given us a brief for students to work with. And now what's good about this is if it's just purely me, I can probably take some of it and obviously that's, and not use all of it. So I don't have to necessarily use the bits that I'm highlighting out here. in terms of the hints that it's giving or parts to consider. I could use those if I was to modify it. So if I was offering support or scaffolding, I might incorporate those. If I wanted to add stretch and challenge, I might take those out and offer something different instead. Let's just see now what type of solution it can come up with. And within this, we've got obviously describing the solution the design project will provide, including scope and deliverables. See how it does with that. Now there's other things you could put into that if you want to add a timeline, if you're using a budget. But for this, keeping it in class, let's see what it can come up with. Okay, so what we've got in front of us then, again, we've got an actual description of it. We'll meticulously engineer to enhance the efficiency of drug transportation to targeted cells. And you could leave it at that, depending on the class that you've got. We've got a scope in terms of things that we might want it to incorporate. We've got deliverables. Again, don't have to incorporate those. You could take it out of the prompt if you really wanted to, if it's too much, depending on the age group of students that you're working with. So we've got a brief we can use, and we've now got a solution in terms of what students are aiming to, and we can amalgamate those two things together. Now, here's the thing with it. Most of these, and of the people I've spoke to, when we're talking about project-based learning, and we're talking about obviously utilizing briefs with that, the task in itself is often for, a couple of weeks. It might be for like 10 lessons. I want to know, can I use design briefs like this to replace or to work alongside learning outcomes? So you've seen the learning outcomes at the top. Now that would be for a 60-minute lesson, and I know, having taught that, I can get that done in 60 minutes. So let's see if now we can take this and actually transform it into some form of 30-minute task. Let's see what it comes up with. That's pretty good. It's just you've got a sketch, hand-drawn sketch, simple digital illustration, and there's people out there. So again, drawing on the expertise I've had from, let's say, Aaron and Ben from the Inventors Club, talking about using AI and different sort of sketch to image. And there's a few other ones out there that can use these AI tools that can do that. So that could work in quite nicely. A brief written description of how the system delivers the drug, perfect. Critical analysis, bullet point list, potential challenges and benefits, collaborative effort, divide roles among team members. So again, that would work for 30 minutes. You gave them the brief, you could actually do a little bit of teaching in there, tap them through it, and then give them this 30-minute task, which would be quite good in terms of getting them to go through those characteristics. But we're not done yet. With that, so we've got our brief, we've got a problem, we've got a solution. What we now want from this is some form of rubric or a set of assessment guidelines or something like that. So if they were peer assessing, which is what we want to get them to, they could utilize these in the lesson. So we're asking, we are extending this idea of collaboration. All right, so we've got it there. Now, again, if you were working on a 2-3 week project and it was over 10-12 lessons and you could have all that, perfect. But we're not. Again, our challenge is, can we condense this down into a 30-minute task? So let's now see if it can take that and condense it down into form of rubric to be used for sort of a short peer assessment. Okay, and it's given us some ideas about a tick or a plus, double plus, some discussion points. So there's some ideas in there, and it might be, you know what, you don't need to use it. It could just be that you take one or two of those points, and so when they're moving around, students have something to help with ideation and feedback, because those are also key things they can use with AI and use with each other actually, which could work out really nicely. You don't have to use it at all. Or, and this ties back into this concept of co-creation, you could actually highlight some areas and for students, so you could give out a list of 5 or 6 different characteristics or skills that you're looking to develop within that part of time, or even within the curriculum, that unit. And you could allow students to actually choose and then co-create a rubric with you, or just like a part of the rubric to do with it, and they could do that so that we know that we're focusing on, and they could have those discussions about, I don't know, the critical thinking or their design or the implementation of the science or something along those lines, whichever part you wanted to incorporate. But it gives a real sense of co-creation and easily to do with AI, and students are picking and choosing the areas they want to work on, so it's great just bringing in metacognitivity as well, but something to think about as we move forward. And there you have it, a crash course in using design briefs to create engaging, authentic learning experiences for your students. And by leveraging the power of AI, you can easily generate and customize design briefs that align with your curriculum and support all learners. Give it a try in your own classroom and see the impact for yourself. If you have found this video useful, hit that like button for me. And if you're brand new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.